This has so much creative potential built into it, and it's something that's relatively unique to iPhone photography. So what a live photo will do is record about 1.5 seconds of video before and after it takes a photo. And it also records sound in the process. So we get to do some really cool creative things. And there's something to be said about simply tapping and holding on a photo and watching that image come to life. It's truly magical. So let's dive in and show you exactly how we can unlock the potential of this technology and go from photos that look like this to photos that look like this. First thing we need to do is recognize it's a live photo because it says live on the top left. We're gonna click on that, and now we have 3 options here. Now the first one is loop. So this is basically a video that just doesn't stop playing. It just loops on itself. It's a really cool effect. This works perfectly for scenes that have water in it, which is why it works so well for this image, because the waves, for instance, just go back and forth. Now, one last thing to keep in mind is you do want to have the phone very steady, ideally on a tripod, so the loop doesn't include your camera motion, just the motion in the scene itself. Now that we have loop view, let's go ahead and talk about bounce. Now, it's a very similar thing if I click on bounce. The only difference being instead of constantly looping from end back to beginning, it stops at the end and then goes backwards. So it just goes forward and backward, forwards and backwards. And some scenarios might work perfectly for that scene. Now for me, for this photo, why I chose live mode in the first place is because I wanted to use this last option. And that is, if I click on where it says bounce, I can turn this into a long exposure. And look at that photo come to life, but in a very different way than motion does. That is a really, really cool feature about using this from a photography perspective. What it's doing is stacking all the images that's used to create this video on top of each other and gives us this amazing long exposure result. That's the beginning of what we do to take this photo and transform it into this one here. We added some color and contrast, and we'll get to that in a later video, but it all started with a live photo. So let me jump into another photo so I can show you some other cool options that we have available to us if we shoot a live photo. I'm gonna click on edit, and we have another option I'm gonna pay your attention to on the bottom of the screen all the way to the left. And this only shows up if we shoot a live photo. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now the first thing I wanna mention is the fact that we can turn this live photo on or off just by clicking on the top of the screen where it says live. The next thing that we can turn on or off is the audio. Where the previous image, I love the sound of the crashing waves. That totally makes sense because it makes for a more immersive experience. But in this case, I don't necessarily want the immersive experience that is a New York City subway to interfere with the photo, so I'm gonna go turn that off. Okay, so what else can we do with a live photo? Now inside this mode, I wanna draw your attention to the bottom of the screen where we have, it looks like a video clip, well, because it is. We can trim this. And all that means is I can grab on the left-hand side and just drag. And when I do, I get the chance to shorten the length of what I send to others or what I view as a live photo. And I could do the same thing on the right-hand side. And so now I can just curb or trim the edges of that clip, what we call handles, to make a shorter video and just get rid of any distractions that might have existed at the very beginning of that live photo or at the end of that live photo as well. So I'm gonna move those sliders back to their original state. Now I wanna pay your attention to this white square that's in the middle. So what this does is allow you to change what your photo is, what your final result is, what we call the key photo, on any point of that video timeline. So if you didn't get the timing perfect, this is your opportunity to grab that perfect moment. So let me show you what that looks like. As I scrub through this, and right here, this is what caught my eye about this, right there. And then I'm gonna let go. Because this very moment, more than any of the other moments here, I get that 1 second, the 1 split second actually, where I get the reflection of other people waiting on that platform framed inside the window, and it just works better than any other moment that I could have captured in this scene. This isn't something that I captured initially. This is something that we can create afterwards. Once I have that moment, all I have to do is say make key photo, and now that becomes my photo. Now this is just something to know. The quality will be a little bit less than the original key photo because now we're grabbing effectively a frame from that 1.5 second video on either side of the original photo. But do keep this in mind. This isn't always about an image quality. I really do think that if we capture the perfect timing of this, that the content is always king here. That timing, that perfect peak moment is gonna outweigh any loss in image quality that may occur if we change our key photo after the fact. So there you have it. That's the impact that shooting a live photo and then knowing how to edit and take advantage of all the potential of a live photo has to create completely unique images in the process. This video was a free preview of the iPhone Editing Academy online course. In this course, you'll discover everything you need to know to edit your photos to perfection using the device that's always in your pocket. Whether you want to breathe new life into your old images or make your best photos even better, you'll find out exactly how to do that on your iPhone. I'll show you the latest photo editing tricks that will transform even average photos into stunning masterpieces in just a few minutes. So if you'd like to learn more about creating incredible photo edits on your iPhone, please take a look at the full version of my iPhone Editing Academy course. You'll find the link in the description right next to this video. So click on that link now and I'll see you inside the full version of this course.